Today I remember that there were many ways of preparing something to tell, but it's important to speak quickly because of the time. This song is the blues that I learned at high school. Well, and I studied at the Perpetual Help School, and I remember that many times I dream beautiful dreams, sometimes not, but okay. And I read once that yesterday the song of the Beatles, Paul woke up with a melody in his mind, and that he woke up and wrote uh, the melody that he has dreamed. And since I read that thing, I began to listen many songs of Beatles, and it began to happen to me to dream with music, or at the morning, listening a melody in my mind. And in the last years, it was many times, but I don't know exactly what it is, because I don't know if it's just a dream or it's like a bad thing that it's happening, because the melodies sometimes are like that something will happen, something bad. And then I prefer not. Sometimes I wrote songs with that melodies, but after I began to link these things with bad things. And there is two ways of writing a song. For instance, person who know music write down the notes, the tones. But in my case, it's not that I don't know music, but more or less. Then I have to make a song to put lyrics to remember the melody, because I have a very bad memory. Then I have to hang the melodies in some words. But the that once I discovered that if there were during the day, the previous day, were, for instance, there was a guitar class. My daughter um, had to go with a guitar class, and then all the things were synthesized perhaps in that channel, the channel of music. And I admire very much music because it's the language of the soul, like said France. And music uh, make calm the spirits and so, but I always like very much to play. And the real thing is that the persons who play music in general like that other persons listen to the music they play. And for instance, if a car in the street is playing a music with its sounds, and all the whole needs to be listened and to be approved. I like very much to listen myself, not now like I am speaking now, because I'm not being very good speaking, but sometimes uh, music in dreams and in mind that are spontaneously generated, and I don't know exactly if it is the synthesis of all the music we listen during the day, or it is a message perhaps, or something spiritual, or is only a characteristic of music. Don't know. But it's very difficult for me to remember it during the day if I not instantly record the melody, or make some song with lyrics. And many times I wrote to the fan club of Paul McCartney and wrote letters and asked him to send me pictures, or give me some um, some magazines or sandwich. There was a magazine, and once there was a chat, remember, and during the chat, um, all persons ask him questions about Beatles, about music, and I was different because I realized that everyone were playing instruments, telling the words well. I don't understand something that they were like speaking among. I don't know why it is the light was were and then for instance, I'm not a music person. I am a technical. I have a technical formation, but when the things are bad or wrong in that field, I began uh, to throw to the music in such a way to to change my direction to music abruptly many times because it's very bad for my spirit. What's happening the filing the technical things make me crazy. And I remember that in many songs or when I was teenager I listened to Beatles, and when I was a kid, when I was recently I was listening a song from when I was 3 years old, and the Beatles were very like an explosion in the world, and for persons there were many changes in the suffer and the point of view of the habits or the standard of living, the styles of living. Well, they introduced a certain kind of freedom, but it's not the thing that I want to say. It's about something about that they were so famous, so multitudes. Uh, the volume were so high that every person listened them in some or another way. Something in the air was happening, and the now, for instance, there are other kind of conventions in the styles of living, and I like very much the twist and shout. When I was 2 years old or 3 years old, I remember that my parents asked me to dance and the dance of the twist was with was one of my foot, my little foot. I was very small in that time, but I moved my foot with so energy, like broken the floor, and all laugh because it was very comic how I danced in that way with so patience. And sometimes I imagine when I was a kid, I had bad thoughts, and I was very young to that bad thoughts because I was a girl of 4 years or 5, and I imagine when all the groups of all my friends, I was the younger, and my friends sometimes were playing, and I used to go alone and began to look in the air and imagine girls and boys, elder for me, and I don't know who they were, but I imagine, and they were dancing or making films, and so persons always were making fun of me because I was so kid, but have attitudes of a woman in some, because I like very much to kiss the other persons very with much strength. Uh, I was very of giving kiss and making love demonstrations when I was very young. And in that aspect, I don't like very much to tell that things because it was not a good thing for me. And I remember that watching TV, I saw Lassie, the program, and there were a couple, the two couples were, and I don't know if it was a good program for kids. Then I ran to my mother to ask her. But the real thing was that, in short, um, the music always was like an inspiration, and love music or romantic music always helped me to arm my structures, because since I was very young I was always listening to music, but also were always in affective demonstration and that kind of things, and like very much to dance. the twist, and I danced the twist very well when I was young. After, when I was a teenager, the romantic side were still stayed with um, beating in my life, in my heart all the time, always reading romantic things, love songs, and I remember that